What if we're not the first to exist? Picture this. Tomorrow, a comet slams into Earth. At once, our cities vanish and all our infrastructure breaks down. Within a few thousand years, our glass towers crumble into dust. Fast forward to 1,000,000 years. What do you think would be left of us? A few puzzling ruins. Maybe a bit of silicon in rock. A huge maybe. Now imagine what future archaeologists would think. To them, our existence would seem like a strange, unsettling rumor. That is, if we are even remembered at all. Now here's the unsettling part. What if this exact scenario has already happened, and not once but many times? This is the cyclic civilizations theory. Let's explain this mind-boggling theory to you like you are 5. Imagine that Earth is like a big playground at the beach. On this playground, kids build really amazing sandcastles. You know, those tall, shiny ones full of cool designs. But then, oops, a big wave comes and washes them all away. Of course, the kids are sad. But after some time, they forget about those old sandcastles and start building new ones. The new castles look different but are just as amazing. Then another wave comes. And this keeps happening again and again. The concept of cyclic civilizations is that humans don't just move from cavemen to modern people in a straight line. Instead, people in the past may have built very advanced civilizations. Civilizations even as advanced as us, or more. But those societies were either destroyed by floods, volcanoes, ice ages, and other disasters. Then, like the children at the playground, humanity started over, forgetting what came before. Sounds too surreal, right? But what if we showed you the proof to back this theory? Starting with the cultural stories. When you dive deep into the study of what many call myths, you find hidden clues. Regarding this theory, every culture tells the same strange story. They say that there was a time before when humans or gods built wonders we can barely imagine. Then came fire, floods, or ice, and everything was swept away. Take, for example, the great Atlantis sinking in a single night. How about India's Mahabharata that describes flying machines and city-destroying weapons? There is also the Mayan civilization that charted cosmic cycles predicting destruction and rebirth. These were on different continents. They all spoke different languages. But how come they seem to pass the same message? Of course, archaeologists dismiss this as myth. But then you stumble across anomalies that don't fit. The 3-billion-year-old Klerksdorp spheres in South Africa. Ancient maps showing Antarctica without ice. Temples like Göbekli Tepe, which was built 12,000 years ago. This was long before farming or writing was invented. What if these are scattered traces of civilizations erased by catastrophe? And if so, what does that mean about us right now in our so-called modern age? Hindu texts say we live in the Kali Yuga. This is known as the dark age of greed, corruption, and conflict, the supposed end of the cycle, the end time. Sounds familiar, right? Anywhere you look, you see rising wars on one hand, collapsing trust on the other, and even technological obsession. Now it looks less like ancient mythology and more like tonight's news. And if the Yugas are right, this phase doesn't end with progress. It ends with a global reset. That's the chilling thought. Everything we know, from our cities, our science, to our achievements, could just be the latest sandcastle before the wave. Maybe Atlantis wasn't unique. Maybe the Sumerians weren't the first. Maybe every age of man is just another attempt in a cycle stretching millions of years. So the real question isn't just, were there civilizations before us? Now, we wonder, how many times has this already happened? And are we next in line? If you think our 12-month calendar is impressive, ancient India would laugh at you. Why, you ask? It's because there is a calendar that the whole world has been following without knowing. It's called the Yuga calendar or Yuga cycle. Unlike other tribes, Hindu sages did not map time in centuries. Instead, they calculated time in ages that last hundreds of thousands of years. They call the ages yugas, and they are divided into 4. The first age is called the Satya Yuga. This is also known as a golden age, a beautiful time when humanity is at its peak in spirituality and knowledge, a period where technology and morality went hand in hand. But each age that follows the golden age is a step down. Treta Yuga is the second age, also called the Silver Age. From here, power begins to crumble with cracks of ambition. At this point, vices start to emerge. The Bronze Age, known as Dwapara Yuga, is even worse. This is a time when spirituality starts to decline while conflict rises steadily. One look around the people in this age, and you see intense material obsession. And lastly, then comes Kali Yuga, the Iron Age, also known as the Dark Age, a period of corruption, conflict, and unstoppable decline, most likely our age. According to Hindu cosmology, this cycle is a cosmic law. Civilizations are born, thrive, rot, and collapse. Then the wheel turns, and the process begins again with the pure Satya Yuga. So where exactly are we on this wheel? Brace yourself, because the answer isn't exactly comforting. At around 150 BC, Greek astronomer Hipparchus noticed something bizarre. The stars don't stay put. Over millennia, the constellations slowly drift. This is a motion called the precession of the equinoxes. It takes about 26,000 years for the sky to make a full wobble. To modern science, it's an astronomical curiosity. But to the ancients, this age-long wobble was a clock. Starting with the Greeks, they called it the Great Year. On the other hand, the Maya tracked it in their long count calendar. Even the Egyptians aligned temples to the shifting stars. And Hindu cosmology, they were not left out. They tied it directly to the yugas to show how civilizations rise during certain alignments, then collapse in others. Here's something to think about. Why would supposedly primitive people across the planet track a 26,000-year cycle unless they believed civilization itself depended on it? Did they know that the cosmic alignments could trigger catastrophes at the end? Or were they simply preserving knowledge from an earlier advanced age? Hindu texts tell us that the Iron Age lasts 432,000 years, but many scholars argue that we're at its bitter end right now. The symptoms match too. Every day we see political corruption, endless war, moral decay, and sometimes even technology without wisdom. Doesn't that sound uncomfortably familiar? And remember that Great Year cycle? Some researchers claim we're at the same astronomical point linked to previous collapses. If this is true, our modern age could be just another civilization about to be reset. This raises a dangerous question. Are we truly the most advanced humans to ever walk the Earth? Or just the latest civilization in a repeating cycle? Because if the ancient texts are right, time isn't marching forward, it's circling back, and the next reset may already be waiting for us. The wisest king in the Bible once said, "There is nothing new under the sun." While many have interpreted this to mean that scenarios, business ideas, and other day-to-day activities are not necessarily novel, they miss the bigger picture. What if King Solomon was also referring to the human race? While we boast, thinking in our scientifically bombarded minds, that we are the best versions of humans to ever exist, there is a fat chance that there are more advanced civilizations that grace the Earth before us. One of such advanced ages is the renowned legend of Mu. This is where it gets interesting. While scientists like to tag Mu as a mere legend or myth, there are questionable clues that make us believe otherwise.